So I often have people get in touch and they want to know what it's like working with people overseas and how to make that a successful venture. Let's talk about that today. When it comes to hiring people overseas, obviously it's different than hiring somebody in your home country, and people often want to know, how can you make that successful? At times, people have already hired a freelancer overseas, and it may have not gone like they had wanted, and they've thought about giving up, but they're still curious if there's a way to make things more successful. I've dealt with this for more than 10 years, and it's something that I've really got used to. Before, I was living in California, working with our California team, and also working with freelancers and other agencies overseas. And now I am the agency overseas, working with clients throughout different parts of the world. And so I really think that I've learned the hard way often how to have a successful relationship when it comes to working with people overseas. So there's really two big picture parts to this. The first one is setting things up in the work environment and thinking through how the work part of it will work. And the second part of it is really figuring out the personal side of it, how to make a working relationship successful from thousands of miles away. So at the end of this video, I definitely want to talk about the personal side of it as well. So what about the work side of it? I think that it's really important at the very beginning to talk to the person that you're going to be working with, or to talk to the agency like we are here at Purple Cow about what success looks like for you. So everybody's really clear on, this is the goal we have, and if these things happen, this will be a successful working relationship. If these things don't happen, it'll be considered unsuccessful. So often people don't talk about these type of things up front, and so one side thinks they're doing a great job and the other side is not quite so happy. So I find that if you really think through things like key performance indicators, what specific things need to happen in the working relationship, where if these things are achieved, everybody's going to be thrilled. The second thing that's really important to think through is things like project management and timekeeping. How are you going to ensure that the most important tasks that need to be done are getting done day after day, and how are those things tracked with time? So at Purple Cow, we've used a lot of different project management software. Right now we're using Monday.com, and we found it helpful. I'm a bit of a stickler with really always trying to find the perfect project management software, and so we've switched over the years. But for now, Monday.com is doing everything that we need it to do. So it's really important that wherever you are, you ensure that people know the different tasks that need to be done. There's clearly people that it's assigned to, that there's due dates attached to that. Things like making sure everything's quality assured is built into that as well. And then there needs to be something where time's really being tracked. So at Purple Cow, we use some software called Work Snaps, and that randomly takes screenshots of people's monitors within, at most, every 10 minutes, so we could kind of see what people are working on, add some accountability, and it also helps people that work with us to be able to just note who they're working for, what tasks they're doing, and how much time that it's taking. And that's really how we invoice, so we make sure that everything stays accurate. You don't need to use the same software tools we do, but I think it's important to make sure that software is out there to make sure that you have processes to get things done efficiently and transparently. Another thing that you need to look at is, how are you going to get files? So if people are doing the work in another country, like here in the Philippines, once it's done, how are they going to share that with you? There's some places, for example, like Facebook Messenger, that you can share files, but it's not very secure, and mostly they degrade the quality of files. So if it's like a graphic design file or a video file, something like Facebook Messenger isn't super secure to begin with, but it's also going to lower the quality. Far better to use something like Dropbox, which is the tool we normally use, or something like Google Drive that is far more secure. You can make sure that things are taken care of. If they get deleted, you can restore deleted files in case of accidents, and it's just really easy to share things in a secure way without anything being degraded in terms of file size or quality. Another thing that's really important to look at is payments. So everybody wants to know that they're going to get paid, and sometimes the way that you might pay somebody in your home country might not be available here. We use software called FreshBooks. It's a Canadian company. It takes care of all of our invoices. It also has a lot of reporting features like profit and loss and a lot of other things that could go to accountants, but it makes it really easy to just send off an invoice through email. People can pay through credit card, debit card, ACH, more standard things like that. And it just makes it really easy for us to get the money here and people to pay wherever it is that they are. So these are some of the type of practical steps that you really need to look at on the business side to make sure that people really know who you are and how to best get things done for you. Of course, there's so many other things we could talk about, like really making sure that they understand your brand and your target audience. Of course, there's so many other things that go into building this work relationship, making sure they understand your brand and your target audience and what is going to really help you shine. So all of those things need to be communicated as upfront and as quickly as possible. Now, the second side of this is really the personal side of it. So yes, somebody may be far away, but what I found at times, especially being over here in the Philippines, is that sometimes people can look at people sitting in office far away. So even though somebody may be working 7,000 miles away from you in an office like mine, far, far away in a place that you've never been, they are still human beings that are getting stuff done with families and hopes and dreams and needs and all those other things, just as if they were someone sitting in office in the country that you are in right now. Building a personal relationship, I think, is also so helpful just in terms of getting work done. Some people really want to separate work and, personal, and I get that. There should be professional boundaries. But in reality, I think the more you work with somebody, the more you understand each other and know each other, the more successful the work's going to be, the more they know you and your clients, the more they're going to be able to do a great job for you. So I would say, whoever you would be if you were working with that person in person, be that same person even if they're a long way away. If you would ask somebody that you work with, how's your day? Ask them how their day is. If you were to ask them, how's your family doing? Ask them how their family's doing. So have professional boundaries, but at the same time, really work on getting to know the people that you work with on a personal level. I think that's just going to make everything last so much longer. People, I think, really connect with people that they know and like and trust. And so that's really even more important if there's a distance between you. And last but not least, when it comes to the personal side of it, there is such a difference at times in cross-cultural communication. Get to know a little bit about their culture. I'm sure there's a lot that you'll be very interested in when you take a bit of time to do that. Learn a word or two or five to communicate to them in their own language, and they're really going to appreciate that. And keep building not only the professional side of the relationship, but get to know the people in the countries where you are working with on a personal level, and it's going to benefit you both for the long haul. If you've ever worked with somebody overseas, I'd love to hear how your experience went. I know for me, I really love not just working with people from overseas from a distance, but now especially up close and personal over here. It takes a lot more effort, but I think it's also so much more rewarding. Of course, I'm a bit biased, but I think one of the things that makes Purple Cow stand out is that I'm over here, I'm able to really get to understand people living in the culture here, and I understand Western culture as well. If you guys ever need help with overseas employees, make sure and send me a message. We'd love to help out. As always, guys, thank you for taking the time to watch, and take care.